This is Morning Juice. Sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thidoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
Indeed it is. I am Tito, Jeff Thidoff. My left, Bobby Carpenter. On the other side of the invisible glass is Shark. Nate back there running things with him also as well. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Got a big show lined up for you. It's another 2-hour edition here. We're going to have Austin Ward on at 7:20 to talk all things Buckeyes. We also have some news regarding possible forced relegation from Power 4 conferences. We'll do our quick hitters. We will also close things out again like we always do with What's Got Us Juiced. Bobby, how are you this morning?
Austin Ward today?
Austin Ward, yeah. What did I say?
I don't know. I didn't hear you say that at all.
I said Austin Ward, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so
maybe you just kind of glossed over it.
I could have. I would never do that to Austin Ward, though. And I asked if he wanted to be on camera today, and he said no one wants to see him that early in the morning. I told him I understand. That's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably a sentiment among many people that have things going on. So you know what? It'll be a fun show, an exciting show, robust show, rainy day here in the capital city of Ohio. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. How was your Tuesday?
It wasn't too bad. I'm trying to think what all my days all blend together now. I can't even tell you what I did after work last night. I don't know. My wife had a meeting, like a board meeting or something. I had to watch the kids, which is never.
I mean, you have to watch your kids. Your kids are old enough to kind of monitor themselves. You're just kind of present, present for emergencies.
Yeah, the Artie's not. You can't just be present for Artie sometimes. But anyway, I know you've got it.
Coach, I think it may
you've got to figure it out.
It
may be a me issue.
Yeah.
Yes, it may be a me issue, not an Artie issue. Yes, I know, because as you've said, that Artie was very well behaved when he was under your care and Courtney's care. So, it was okay last night. I got enough sleep. I think it feels good. So, watched a little bit of the NBA. Watched very little of the Reds offense because they lost 1-0 to Pittsburgh. They'll wrap things up today at 12:35. The Guardians, Shark, they didn't win again. Another day without a win for the Guardians.
They didn't lose, though, Tito. They did not lose their fifth in a row.
You reported it yesterday. The meteorologist, Mark the Shark, you told us they would not play. They did not finish the suspended game. They did not play the regularly scheduled game, and they'll wrap up their series today at 1:10. Will they play today, Shark?
They're going to play today, finish the completed game, the suspended game
first,
Monday. And then they're going to play today's regularly scheduled game,
right?
Roughly, 3 o'clock, 3:30.
Yep.
And then officially, yesterday's game was postponed to be made up as part of a doubleheader in September.
September 20th, yes.
I don't know why it matters that it's Tuesday or Wednesday's game that was postponed, but officially it is yesterday's game. So that 3-game series is only a 2-game series.
In the NBA, first game of the Western Conference Finals, Oklahoma City routed Minnesota 114-88. I remember I first checked the score and it was 9-0 Minnesota early on, and then just obviously a little bit of domination from OKC the rest of the way. Eastern Conference Finals, Indiana and the Knicks, Reggie Miller versus Spike Lee tonight at 8 o'clock. At least let's hope that's what happens. In the NHL, Florida beat Carolina 5-2 in Game 1 of those Eastern Conference Finals. Goalie Bob and Seth Jones still moving, playing well out there. They'll have they got a 1-0 lead there. And in the Western Conference Finals, Edmonton plays at Dallas tonight at 8 in Game 1 of that. So that's what went on yesterday in sports. Now, we talked about yesterday. Let's talk about previous days, Bobby. Are you ready for this date in history?
Oh, yes, I am, Thidoff. I'm excited.
You're excited?
Yeah. I love giving Shark a history lesson. It's fun. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right.
But can you teach a young dog old tricks?
Bobby, I get more out of this than Shark does because Shark is smarter than me about history.
Shark knows most of it.
He knows most of it. I don't. This is all news to me.
After Shark leaves, I might just make it up.
You could do that. You could say that, yes.
There'll be no fact-checking going on.
You could throw like Lord of the Rings references in there, like things that may have happened in the movie because I never saw the movie either. I wouldn't be able to.
Well, there's multiple movies, but either way.
All right, here we go.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
Oh boy, it is Wednesday, May 21st, the 141st day of the year, 224 days remaining in this 2020 25, this date 1881, the American Red Cross is established by Claire Barton in the United States. So get that rolling here. This date 1927, Charles Lindbergh, that flight that we talked about the day before, given that it was 33 hours long, you are aware that a day is 24.
And most days are, yep.
So it finished the following day, and he finished that first
Our
solo
daylight
flight.
say we leave the clock thing. Do we? Is that really? That's really a 23-hour day sometimes, right? A 25-hour day. Is that right?
I guess so.
Okay.
Good call, Tito.
There you go.
I mean, if you fly, like if you personally fly backwards in time zones, your days are longer as well.
That's true. That's this day and time with Tito. Go ahead, Bob. You can figure it. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's right. You know, if you could keep time in a bottle. This date, 1930, Babe Ruth hits 3 consecutive home runs. You know, he could wish it would have been nice if he did it on a Digger Tuesday, not a Digger Wednesday, but
The Yankees.
Yeah, the Lou Gehrig thing. Yeah, he played himself
played
there.
himself.
Yeah, he did. It was all about Gehrig at the end. It's not a huge role at the end, though. You see him in the background when Gary Cooper, right?
Yep.
Makes his speech about being the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Gary Cooper, right-handed hitter. Lou Gehrig, left-handed hitter. So when they filmed that, he batted right-handed, and when he hit a home run or whatever, he would run down to third base.
Are you serious?
And they flipped the film.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Learn a lot on this show, Tito. Stick with me.
They named a disease after Lou Gehrig.
They did, and amazingly, he had it.
He had it. He's the first one to have it.
Yeah, it's a terrible disease. It's awful, awful. I did learn the interesting the batting the right hand. As soon as you said that, I was like, I wonder if they flipped the film.
They did,
and he would have to be running to third, so it'd all be
Jimmy Pearsall.
Yeah.
Jimmy Pearsall hit his 100th career home run and ran around the bases backwards. He was a crazy guy.
That's well, that counts as a home run then?
I don't know if they counted as home run or not. Did they still count it?
He didn't run to third.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
He ran backwards.
Oh, he did?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They said he ran backwards around the bases, stood off when he went third.
I thought he went
first.
third, second, first. I thought that was really cool.
That's beautiful. This day, 1932, Amelia Earhart ditches her plane in a field in Ireland, becoming the first woman to make a transatlantic flight. 1977, big day in music history as the album Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. Later, big day for Sharky, a movie he could not wait to see. Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, considered by many to be the ultimate movie of the 9-movie series.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
That's not true. That's impossible.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
No!
Luke, you can destroy the Emperor. He has foreseen this. It is your destiny. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. Come with me. It is the only way.
So,
Gosh. It sounds pretty appealing.
it was not James Earl Jones in the Darth Vader costume.
No.
And when they did the dialogue, when they shot the movie, that's not what Darth Vader said. It was a secret between Hamill, George Lucas, and somebody else knew it also. But there's only three people that knew it. And the stars of the movie, like Harrison Ford, didn't find out until he saw the movie premiere what the actual dialogue was. They all thought it was like, Luke, I killed your father, is what they thought he said. They were shocked. He
It's
said,
the
Luke,
big
I hate your
reveal.
father.
You don't want to get that to get leaked out.
Yep.
Tito, he knows his movies.
I'm telling you. And Cannonball Run at the very... No, go ahead.
Okay.
We'll talk about that later
Enough
on.
of the Cannonball Run, man. I've got to go back and watch that.
Oh, classic.
So I can have something to at least reference with your nonsense.
Let the kids watch it.
This day, 1983. Give Me All Your Lovin' is released by ZZ Top. James Earl Jones, alive or dead?
Dead.
Passed away in September.
Yep.
Good job out of you guys. He was fairly old when he passed away as well. He was born in 31, so yeah, he was well into his 90s.
Yeah.
Him and Connery, they refused to die, and
Connery won.
Connery did win. He lived a little bit longer. Gene Hackman,
Another R.I.P.
Yes.
he just passed away in the last year as well.
Yeah,
didn't he?
recently, it was like last few months. This
really
year, right?
Weird
A weird one,
situation.
yes. Yep.
Why was it weird?
He died in his bedroom, and his wife or partner, whoever she
He had
was,
a pillow on his face.
died in another
Oh yeah, they died.
bedroom.
Yeah,
And
And
they
then the
didn't
dog.
find him for like 4 days.
And the
Yeah.
dog was dead, too, if I remember correctly.
I think you are correct in saying that.
Yeah.
That off now, it's jogging my memory. This date, 1992, Johnny Carson's last Tonight Show airs with his last guest, Bette Midler.
And so it has come to this. I am one of the lucky people in the world. I found something I always wanted to do, and I have enjoyed every single minute of it. I want to thank the gentlemen who've shared this stage with me for 30 years, Mr. Ed McMahon, Mr. Doc Severinsen. You people watching, I can only tell you that it has been an honor and a privilege to come into your homes all these years and entertain you. And I hope when I find something that I want to do and I think you will like and come back, that you'll be as gracious in inviting me into your home as you have been. I bid you a very heartfelt good night.
Did he ever do anything after that?
I don't think he really did.
He
no.
appeared on Letterman.
Letterman that one
was
time,
his
yeah, a
last
couple
TV
yeah.
appearance.
He, I don't think he ever did, but it's you probably couldn't appreciate Carson. It was before you, like
Yeah, I never watched. Jay Leno's who I know. Of the
Yeah,
Tonight
it's
Show.
he was so damn good though. Carson was. Ed McMahon, best job in the world. Just sit over there and laugh a couple times and
Yeah,
get a big check.
that's perfect. And then this date, 2017, the Ringling Brothers performed their final show at the Nassau Vets Memorial Coliseum. I remember they came through Columbus, probably.
They used to walk the elephants down the street.
Yeah,
and
they'd
stuff.
walk them down like Lane and Neil right there.
Right.
We took the kids out to watch it, and that was probably 2013, 14. So right around that final run that they ultimately have. Some birthdays today. Ara Parseghian, born on this date, 1923, the two-time national champ at Notre Dame. Bobby Cox, turning 84 years young today, the two-time World Series winner, one as a player, one as a manager.
And a 2-2 pitch on the way. Strike three called. Inside corner at the knees. Chipper Jones fires the bat all the way over to the Braves dugout. And there goes the batting helmet right behind it. Ted Barrett threw him out of the game, and that makes Bobby Cox the all-time record holder. 132 times now he has been ejected from a Major League ball game.
There we go. I mean, Bobby Cox, not a very confrontational manager. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
really?
Yes.
I guess I just remember when he was really old and he would sit there in the dugout, or he looked really old. Given he's only 84 now, he seemed like he was 84 in the 90s.
He was when he managed the Braves the first time. They were really bad. Then he goes to the Blue Jays and ends up doing well there, and then comes back to the Braves. All of a sudden, he's a great manager again. It's amazing how great of a manager can be. You got Maddox and Glavine. Yeah, you become a much. Yeah, it was Glavine. It was Smoltz. It was Maddox. Steve Avery for a while. But yeah. That's when you become a really good manager if you have a pitching staff like that.
Great players help you make you a great coach. And I pity the fool because Mr. T, also known as Lawrence T, star of the A-Team, Rocky III, turning 73 years young today.
Don't get this sucker no statue. Give him guts. I told you I wasn't going away. You got your shot. Now give me mine.
Why don't you get the hell out of there?
Shut up, old man. I ain't going nowhere. And why don't you tell all these nice folks why you've been ducking me?
You know, you got a big mouth, you know?
I am ranked number one. One! That means I'm the best. But this bum been taking the easy matches, fighting other bums. I'm telling you and everybody here, I'll fight him anywhere, anytime, for nothing.
You're a disgrace to this sport.
Shut up, old man. You and that chump don't know where to come from. Hey, woman, since your old man ain't got no heart, maybe you'd like to see a real man. I'll tell you what, bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight, and I'll show you a real man.
You want to get out?
It's really one of the great scenes. The fact that he drops a shut up old man on Mick twice.
Right.
And then tries to pick up Adrian right in front of Rocky.
It reminds me of the Pedro Martinez-Don Zimmer fight.
Oh,
Shut up, old man.
it's so good.
By the
So
way,
good.
I can't believe you didn't give the sound from Mr. T's song he released. His
What was
Mother's
that?
Day song. He's got a Mother's Day song out there about loving your mom, but make sure you respect your mom, love your mom. It's really good. And by good, I mean
entertaining.
Entertaining, yes.
There you go. Why not? Judge Reinhold turning his 68 from Stripes Fast, but this is from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
May I help you?
Yes. This is not the best breakfast I ever ate, and I'd like my money back.
Okay. I believe you have to fill out a form for that.
No, I'd like my money back now.
I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You see, I have to fill out a form, and, well, you ate most of it already, so...
See that sign? It says 100% guaranteed.
Sir, if you just give me a minute, I'll find the forms. I'll take care of everything.
I am so tired of dealing with incompetence. It says 100% guaranteed, you moron!
Mister, if you don't shut up, I'm gonna kick 100% of your ass!
Oh, I love it.
He got fired then.
Oh, he did.
Yes, he did. Yes,
Good movie, though. Sharks guy Jeffrey Dahmer, born on this date in 1960. Did you live in the towers with him, Shark?
When did he die?
1994.
In prison.
Yeah.
By inmates.
They killed him?
Yeah.
Did they eat him?
I don't think so.
I desensitized myself to it. I had these obsessive desires and thoughts wanting to control them, to, I don't know how to put it, possess them permanently.
And that's why you killed them.
Right. Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me. And as my obsession grew, I was saving body parts such as skulls.
Who hasn't done that?
And skeletons.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my kids, like when you're young, you collect stuff you find around on the playground and things like that. Rocks, skulls, human skulls, a lot of different things, you know?
We went right into it without introducing
Fava beans.
And so I want people to know that was not Shark, that was Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh, okay.
It's not like it could have been Shark just going into a diatribe right there.
I mean, he's been dead for 31 years, so a lot of people may not know who that is.
Good point, yeah.
You want to tell them the story, Bob?
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
I used to kill people and eat them?
Yeah.
I knew that story.
You, but I'm saying...
Oh, them, the listeners.
If the listeners are under 35, they may not know that.
He lived in one of the towers over at Ohio State when he was here.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he's from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, he's from Wisconsin, but he attended Ohio State. Those signs have been put up at Michigan game days before.
The Dahmer signs?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I think Ted Kaczynski was at Michigan as like a...
oh, my God.
I think he was like an associate there. Like he was working on something. So those signs have gone back and forth.
That's another...
I'll have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure it was Kaczynski. I think it was Kaczynski that worked up there.
Okay. Worst human. Who's the worst human?
I don't know. I mean...
Kaczynski, Dahmer, Art Modell.
Ooh. I mean, you going to throw Tim McVeigh in there, too?
McVeigh'd be another one to throw in there, too, yeah.
I mean,
Just tell the guys in the other show to get on their poll. Maybe that could be their poll for today.
Yeah, we could always do our own poll. Shark loved doing the polls so much. By the way, Shark, how liberating is it that you don't have to beat up Beam anymore?
I don't even know how to do it anymore, Bob.
That's good. Easy come, easy go, Shark.
Okay, gotcha.
Dorsey Levens, former Packers running back, Super Bowl champ, turning 55 today, which makes me feel old. Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, born in this state, 1972.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, Rap Attack, Mr. Magic.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was flat broke, I couldn't picture this. Christopher Wallace, R.I.P.
Absolutely. Good job by pulling out his full name right there. This state was born one of the great running backs in college football history, the 1998 Heisman Trophy winner, rushing leader in the NFL in 2002, Ricky Williams.
Do you know who the 4 finalists were in New York that day?
98?
Yep.
Was that Ron Dane? Was he in that?
Nope, because Dane won.
Dane won, that's right.
Was Peyton in there?
Nope.
Peyton was the year before with Woodson.
98, was there any Buckeyes there?
I'm going to let him tell you.
Our 4 finalists: Michael Bishop, Tim Couch, Cade McNown, and Ricky Williams. And now, the Downtown Athletic Club is proud to award the 1998 Heisman Memorial Trophy to Ricky Williams of the University of Texas.
I owe the greatest amount of gratitude to my teammates. Thanks, guys, so much. I mean, they say the Heisman Trophy is an individual award, but in this case, it's a team award, because the knock on me winning the Heisman was the team wasn't going to be good enough for me to win, but they came out there and they played their butts off.
You could have given me a month, and I couldn't have come up with Michael Bishop and Tim Couch.
Do you know where Michael Bishop played?
Kansas State.
Yeah. That's what.
He was a great college.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really good. They had a really good team that year. I'm going to ask you guys this because I pulled this up. Do you know how many rushing yards Ricky Williams had in the NFL?
In the NFL? I know he had fewer than
he was
Harbaugh.
First team All-Pro one time. Wait, Harbaugh.
Not Ricky Williams. Not Ricky Williams. Somebody else had fewer than Harbaugh. There was somebody else. It's a trivia question. Sorry, it's not that one. You're right. How many rushing yards in his career? I will say 9,700.
I don't think it was that much. He had a long career.
Yeah, I played with him during his second iteration.
It was interrupted a couple times, but it was the Saints and the Dolphins.
And then the Dolphins again.
And I'm surprised that he made All-Pro once.
He's the NFL rushing leader. He had back-to-back years where he rushed for 1,800 and 1,700. No, the Dolphins.
With the Dolphins.
Yeah, he went for like 1,700 and 1,800.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes my guess then. Right there's 3,500. I was going to say 6,600.
Over 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, borderline Hall of Famer.
Yeah. I mean, and he missed parts of multiple seasons and one entire season.
He liked the ganja.
Oh, of course. If he would have played consistently through, I think he would have been like a 12 or 1,300 yard rusher. He was really good. I mean, even when he was back there with me where he was not lifting weights anymore and just eating cantaloupe, he was still rushing for like 900 yards.
He was
it's unbelievable.
How would you describe eccentric?
Eclectic.
He's
a really good dude. I really liked Ricky. Most people would find him very charismatic and like a really good guy. Really good teammate. Josh Hamilton, turning 43 years young, the AL MVP and the 5-time All-Star.
How about another? To center field, number 4, Josh Hamilton, on an unstoppable tear in Baltimore.
Got a standing ovation from the Oriole crowd, too.
If you have been watching Ranger baseball since day one, 1972, we have never seen a performance like this.
Is that 4 home runs in a game?
Yep.
Gosh, he was talented.
He went
man.
5 for 5 that day.
How do you think he celebrated afterwards?
Well, he didn't partake because he had a chaperone with him at all times.
Yeah, at that point he was clean.
Was that his first time or second time?
That was his second time.
Okay.
The first time he never made it to the majors.
Yeah.
He was the number 1 overall pick.
That's right, yeah.
And then born on this day, 1996, turning 29 years old today. NFL MVP, I believe the reigning one, Mr. Josh Allen, as well. Some holidays observances today. It's American Red Cross Founders Day. It's EMS for Children Day. Oh, goodness. It is National Tea Day, National Memo Day, and World Orienteering Day. Do you know what orienteering is, that off?
Orienteering? I think it's orienteering. I think that's when you cry in China.
Of course. Good job. Well done on you know what, that off. That's an acceptable answer.
Thank you.
That was very just out of the creativity alone. I didn't know where that was going, and the fact that it didn't even involve a compass.
I don't know.
It's very impressive. And those are your historical events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays, observances for this date. Wednesday, May 21st, 141st day of the year, and 224 days remaining in this 2025.
Well done, as always, Bobby. Coming up next, could we have some forced relegation from Power 4 conferences? That's next. Morning Juice.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/
the right seat. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
It's been a real journey since 2014 when I first had my injury. I realized that my home was just not working for me and that it was time to ask for help. Homes for Our Troops is really giving me my life back. The shower allows me to go in and turn around with my chair, pull down storage racks, automated door systems, hours of my morning given back to me. Adaptive sports are a huge part of my life, a huge part of my healing journey as well. Homes for Our Troops helped with making sure that I had a home gym so that I can continue to train. This past year, I was able to host Thanksgiving in my home. And it was the first time I was able to have my whole family in one place and I was able to contribute to the meal. There are a lot more veterans in need and Homes for Our Troops is going to be there to help them too.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best pathfinders of all.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them. Safe.
And that means safe at home, safe at school, and safe online.
Hope means walking this path together. All of us. Because when we work together, we can do so much more.
That's right. Hope includes you.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
To learn how Child Fund works with children in 23 countries to help them achieve their full potential, visit childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Attack and dominate, YouTubers. You're locked into Morning Juice.
All right, Morning Juice. Before we get into the story about college football, Bobby.
You want to address our off-air conversation, Thidoff?
I'm not going to do it today. The Shark will get into it on June 30th, though, I'm sure, or maybe July 1st. But anyway.
How about June 31st?
June 31st, you could do that also. That'd be a good time to do it. But, Bobby.
I love that your last month is a 30-day month, too, Shark.
That was Marjorie Taylor Greene actually said that.
I know.
There's
been multiple people that have addressed June 31st
Yeah.
over the years.
The
date
stat
that doesn't exist.
The stat I was thinking about was Jim Harbaugh had more rushing yards in his career than Bo Jackson.
What?
Jim Harbaugh rushed for 2,787 yards in his career.
NFL career.
NFL career, yeah.
Because Bo was coming in after baseball a couple of those years.
Bo rushed for 2,782. Harbaugh, 18 rushing touchdowns. Bo Jackson, 16.
Wow.
And that just goes to show you how overrated Bo Jackson was.
Stop it.
I hated the guy. He was overrated.
Overrated as what?
Just as a human being.
What do you I mean, what are we rating him as?
The one interview I did with him. That's what we're rating it on, Bobby.
Why? Because you didn't find him to be endearing and kind? Like he wasn't a nice interview?
Wasn't even professional. Yeah.
What do you mean he wasn't professional? Were you paying him to do it?
This is when the Bo Jackson, he was like promoting the thing in Hilliard. His
Bo Jackson facility.
Beanie Wells and I are doing the show. It was the Tim and Beanie show around. I was filling in for him. And we get the note that, hey, Bo's coming.
Did he call you Ice?
He didn't call me Ice. No, John is the most disrespectful. But anyway.
John Tressler?
Yes, whatever his name is. I can't even remember what he did. But anyway, with Bo, so he's going to come on.
They played that like last week.
Did they really?
Oh, it's so good.
That's fantastic. My radio highlight being called the wrong name. Yes. Ice of Rothman. Anthony. Ice. Yeah. Anyway, so Bo comes on. Now, he had been on QF96 before us. He was doing the whole tour thing, the interviews.
Of course. I did every station in Columbus.
And I happened to listen to some of that on my way in that day.
Okay.
And he was engaging, talking about, his football history and all this stuff and going into detail about things. And it was great. It's a very good interview. So I was getting excited about it. And then Beanie and I do it. And my first question to him was, I said, Bo, can you confirm that you ran a 4.240 unofficially? Because there was a story that he did that at one point.
You ever thought about like asking a question with someone that when you have people on, especially like this, to like just kind of engage them at first?
Well, I'm sure I said something first about how are you, Bo, that kind of thing. Yes, I didn't just dive right in with
like
that.
Talk about something that just to kind of warm him up, something that you think that he likes. Like, he's a big hunter and fisher. Like, you've been out here, like, how's the hunting and fishing? You had a chance to check it out in Ohio. Like, maybe kind of get them into something that warms them up a little bit.
In hindsight, perhaps.
I'm just giving you some tips on
I
how to
appreciate
interview
that,
someone.
yes. So this was, and so we're on the phone with him, and I asked that question, and he says to me, I'm not really here to talk about my career. I don't want to talk about what happened in the past with me on the football field. That's not what I'm interested in. I'm just here to talk about the facility. And so he wasn't going to answer any questions at all. We were going to have like a 12-minute interview about nothing but the and I was like, that's not how this works. I didn't say it that way, but I just said, okay, well, thanks, Bo. We appreciate your time. And we got off the phone with him. So he was like, I don't want to talk about the past. I'm like, dude, you've been talking about it on other radio stations. Why can't we ask you a couple questions?
Well, maybe if he'd done a bunch of interviews. Now, granted, that's a poor reflection of him.
Yeah. He might make that list with
maybe if you
Dahmer.
Maybe if you would have interviewed him earlier before he got to the other stations.
Could have been.
He'd have been there. Maybe if you would have asked him at first about his, hey, you're here in Ohio. We've got the launch of this. Tell us a little bit about what you got started here, why you decided to do it, why Columbus, Ohio, why Hilliard Boom. Maybe opens that up a little bit, inspiring the Nuggets.
They do that first. They do that last. They do like that kind of stuff at the end.
Well, they also ask a question that might be something of like his level of human interest. Like, he doesn't talk. Have you ever listened to any interviews that he does?
I listened to one that day.
I understand that, but typically he said he doesn't watch much sports.
No, I know, yeah. But I was trying to find a question that wasn't asked of him in the other video I'd heard.
I understand that,
thing.
and so maybe you get to that later. But your first question should be to engage with him on something. But, I mean, you're not really a hunter or fisher, and so that probably was difficult for you to find that connectivity and that common ground.
What makes you think I'm not a hunter or a fisher?
Because I've never heard you talk about it, and you don't really appear to be someone that ventures and dabbles in the outdoors.
That may be true.
I'm just trying to help you, Thid.
No,
So next
Bobby,
time
I appreciate that.
This comes along, like, and I schedule us some, big time guests. I'm like, hey, this is how we're going to engage them,
Right. He's the only interview I've had a problem with, though. Like everyone else, though. We had Ross, we had Ryan.
Having a bad day.
He was having a great day until he got on with me and Beanie.
Well, maybe that may have been a function of you, and maybe that was a function of the fact that he'd done 6 consecutive interviews. The people listening to him at that point, they didn't know or care that he'd done 5 or 6 other interviews, and you got him last. So your job was to say, hey, I know you've been doing this a lot, try to ease it in a little bit, try to, work some stuff out. And
his rep called me afterwards and apologized and wanted to have him on again. And I just said, it's probably not a good idea.
Look at you playing hardball over there.
That's what I did. It wasn't my show. It was Tim and Beanie. What am I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Bobby, we talked to Ross Bjork a while back, early this year, I think it was actually, and he was talking about this college.
Ironically,
go ahead.
Ross has been on 2 or 3 times, and Beam was never in there. It was always you. And
I'm not going to say it's a suggestion by Ross or a demand by Ross or like a rider in the contract, but you can draw your own conclusions on that one. Anyway, so he talked about this committee forming that would be overseeing the Power 4 conferences and enforcing the rules.
Yep.
And it'd be a very strong hand, and they would have these strict rules in place that they would have to follow that would certainly be more powerful than the NCAA. Now, this college sports commission they're talking about doing, it was proposed way back in 2023 by the NCAA president, Charlie Baker. And it's going to be run by, in some faction, the Power 4 conferences, and they're going to have a set of rules in place regarding NIL, regarding punishments for different things and whatnot. But the crux of this is, Bobby, is there's there's rumors out there, reports out there that every Power 4 conference member has to sign off on it. So if you're
I think they have to sign up to opt into it.
Okay, so
you are basically
you're right.
agreeing.
Yeah.
Because when you take the courts out of it, you have to basically sign a contract that says you agree to binding arbitration.
Right.
And so if you have an issue, we're not going to the court system. This thing's going to be drawn out. We will have an arbiter that is picked that we both agree on, and that situation is going to be final. It's not going to be go to this judge, go to that judge, appeal this, appeal that, and drag on forever. This thing's going to be done quickly and swiftly, which is what people want.
Yes.
And so all these schools have to basically forego their rights and sign up and sign in to be able to do that. And, like, there's contracts. Like in the NFL, players can't sue the NFL. You can, and then it'll get thrown out because you've given up your rights in some of these different circumstances, and you have to go to binding arbitration. And there's a lot of times you can have that with work and different contracts.
Sure.
And there's different businesses I've been involved in where you can't sue other partners. You have to go to arbitration for this, and it's just a little quicker and cleaner to be able to handle. But you give up your legal rights as a United States citizen or as an entity located within the domicile of the United States.
And so they're saying that one of the things that could come into play if you don't agree to this, if you don't opt in, you could be kicked out of a Power 4 conference, or other Power 4 conference members won't schedule you.
Yeah.
So
that's called collusion.
It's
also illegal in the United States.
That is illegal. But I wonder what the reaction will be from. I'm sure the big time Power 4 school. I'm sure will be fine with it. Ohio State, I think, will be fine with this. Alabama, Texas, schools like that. Penn State, Michigan, Oregon, stuff. I don't know about the lower tier Power 4 conferences, Power 4 teams, though. If they will
they have an option?
I don't think they will. I think they're going to be forced. I think it's more forced for them than it is for the bigger ones, though. But I'm looking forward to, Bobby, yes, having something in place that has some teeth and some power that can enforce rules.
I don't know if this is. Here's what's interesting is to be able, the NFL has a lot of this, but they also have the antitrust exemption.
Right.
College doesn't have that. So they're going to have to probably try to figure out a way around this, and they're trying to sculpt all of this legislation that will inherently cap, because Tennessee is passing a law right now, or just passed, Senate Bill 536, if I'm not mistaken, in the state of Tennessee, that prohibits or exempts their schools from any type of NCAA oversight or punishment with regard to rules, any type of rules infractions.
Right.
So it's thus making it illegal for those schools to be punished in their state. And so there's a number of other states that are currently crafting and trying to work through that as well. And so as you see those things coming down the line, then it's going to be on the schools then to have to lobby their lawmakers and saying, hey, do you want to see your school play in one of these leagues? Do you want to see Tennessee in the SEC? Because if not, and you'd rather just have us be able to do whatever we want, then we're not going to be able to do this. And so this is what they're going to have to do and try to figure this out. And it's a very muddy and messy process, because instead of getting ahead of these things years ago, it's taken them to get to this point, and now there's already legislation crafted. And the reality is, too, the federal law will supersede any of this, because in the federalism part of the U.S. Constitution, any interstate commerce is relegated to the United States federal government as opposed to individual states, and disputes between states, which is essentially what this would be. So that would then become a federal matter. And so there's going to have to be some sort of federal legislation, whether it could be an executive order or some sort of bill that's crafted, that will probably have to go part and parcel with this. And will you ever get that? I don't know. That's the problem with it.
Do you think it'd be good for the game?
There's your history lesson and civics lesson for the day.
Bobby,
that's today's Civics Minute.
That's today's Civics Minute. We got to get that
Shark,
sponsored.
how did you feel like I did on that?
You did a good job, Bob. You taught me a thing or two also.
Do you think this would be better for college sports if there's a college sports commission overseeing all of this? Like
a federal commission, or just something outside of the NCAA? Because everybody complains it's the NCAA. I'm like, well, just creating another body and calling it something else doesn't inherently solve the problem.
Okay.
Like having babysitter one, who the kids don't listen to, and then, we're going to get a new babysitter.
Right.
Well, the kids still don't listen to the second babysitter, but that's a new person. Okay, that's fine. You have to have, and so get them opting into this, I think will help. That will be an asset, but there's probably still going to have to be some sort of governance with it. I think the reality is there needs to be there needs to be oversight on a Division III level, Division II level, FCS, FBS, Group of Five, and it's got to be separate. And those schools that are partaking in those different divisions have to sculpt how they want their sports to look, and then everybody opts in and does that. And if you don't want to do it at that level, then maybe you can drop down to the next.
Right.
But say, hey, we don't want this, we don't want that. And that's the problem of why NIL was drug on for so long, because these smaller schools had the same voting power in the NCAA.
Right.
I say smaller meaning like Division III, Division II, And no offense to Otterbein, but Otterbein has nothing in common with Ohio State on a sports level of how they're trying to operate.
That's true. Yeah, I remember you telling me that. I was amazed to hear they had the same kind of say in all of this, same kind of voting and all that, the same shares, I guess, as far as when you're talking about opinions and what goes out there. So, all right, coming up next, the Bengals are going to be the Bengals. That's coming up next in Quick Hitters Morning Juice.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting and thriving, like basketball analyst and cancer champion Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. Join our team to help fund game-changing research that saves lives. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over the odds. V is for victory over health disparities, victory over setbacks, victory over the unknown. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate to the V Foundation to join our team and help save lives.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul.
100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now to the V Foundation at v.org.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm an innovation ambassador at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, and every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook, read labels, keep it allergy friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
You know a thing or two about the moments in life that matter. You've seized those moments to embrace joy, accomplish great things, and build meaningful relationships. Is it time now to sit back and reflect on a life well lived? Maybe. Or maybe there's more to be done. Maybe this is the most important moment you've encountered yet. By volunteering with AmeriCorps Seniors, you can seize the moment, lend a hand, and get back more than you give. We connect you to local volunteer organizations with opportunities that fit your schedule and match your interests. Through AmeriCorps Seniors, you can support people in times of need and make your community stronger. You can become a companion to your older neighbors, brightening their days with friendship. You can even become a mentor for young people, serving as a role model and enriching their lives. Are you ready to seize your moment? Visit AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment and get started today.
Bobby played for the Dallas Cowboys. Tito wears assless chaps.
I'm dead sexy.
You're locked into Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Tito, Bobby, Shark, Nate with you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for the lesson, Bobby, that last segment. I could probably say after every segment with you. Thank you for the lesson.
Well, I mean, I did get an A in U.S. government my junior year at Lancaster High School. And that was in spite of me breaking my leg and doing about a week of class on Vicodin. And I still was able to retain most of that. So, and the fact that one of our football coaches was a government teacher. And so he used to always give us regular civics lessons during practice and lifting. So
I got to believe I either got a D, F, or an I in that one for not showing up incomplete. Let's do quick hitters.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
Sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP.
You know, my wife is Canadian, born in Canada, not raised there, moved to the United States when she was 2, and became a U.S. citizen when she was in her 20s.
Okay.
When you become a U.S. citizen, you got to learn American history. You got to learn civics. You got to learn how the government works.
I was grandfathered in, yeah.
I think she knows more about America, American government, American civics than most Americans.
I guarantee you,
we had
Jean-Luc on. He just became a U.S. citizen
Yeah.
Like last summer. And, yeah, I mean, you have to take the test is pretty thorough. It's more difficult to do that than a driving test.
Is it multiple choice?
It might be.
Multiple guess.
I don't know.
I was going to say, cause if it's multiple choice, I give myself a fighting chance on that one. I think I can deduce some of the answers. Like Bobby, it's multiple choice. I'm really
People
good.
People always tell themselves that. I've had my butt kicked on multiple choice tests before.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
If you're supposed to get 25%, it's the worst you can get. There's times where you're challenging that.
Yeah, the odds are 25% just by guessing. But
right.
Yeah, I loved American history. I hated geometry. I hated chemistry, all that crap, but I loved history. All right, the Bengals had 6 picks in last month's draft. 4 of them have signed. Only first-round pick Shamar Stewart remains one of 2 unsigned. So he's been at Cincinnati's voluntary workouts, but he hasn't been participating. Stewart is embroiled in a contract dispute, and Kelsey Conway of the Enquirer reported yesterday that he wants his contract to look like Cincinnati's last 2 first-round picks, both of whom were taken after number 17 overall. Shamar is not budging. He doesn't plan on practicing until the contract is finalized. Bobby, these first-round pick salaries are pretty much slotted, so I'm not sure why they're so far apart.
Because there's offset language in there, and those are the things that they're going to be probably pushing back on. But the fact that the last 2 years, he just wants what was in the last 2 years. The last 2 contracts that came through for the last 2 first-round picks. So what? I don't understand what the deal is. Like, they've already agreed to this prior. Now, granted, when you draft a guy who has 4.5 sacks in 3 years, and they may want to build some protections in case he isn't as productive as they would have hoped, which he's a phenomenal athlete, and he's made some really good plays. He's been disruptive, but he doesn't have that top-end production. I get it. And I understand where Cincinnati's coming from, but you're not going to be able to undo that precedent. It's not going to happen.
Bobby, so, yes, the Bengals want that protection because Stewart, he was not very productive at the college level.
4.5 sacks in 3 years.
Right.
Not productive. Coach, I had 4.5 sacks, I think, as a sophomore.
He
playing part-time half the year.
Stewart seems like one of those guys who really got drafted because of the physical stuff is all it was. The way he looks, the way he looks, the way he runs, all that.
Here's the thing, if it wasn't for his production, which wasn't there,
right?
Either the only other option was they draft him because of his raw physical traits, because he doesn't have the production, or maybe they just liked his personality.
And so, what?
Thought he'd be a quote good locker room guy,
a glue guy. It sounds like, Bobby. The thing that I question the Bengals more on this. I'm not saying they have to give in to whatever he wants and all of this. I'm saying obviously they can negotiate a little bit, but it comes across as a lack of faith by the Bengals. And if you have that lack of faith, why the hell did you draft him then?
That's
like, is that, am I reading that right? You think
it's not inaccurate.
It's, if you,
it'd be one thing if he was trying to get something that nobody else in Cincinnati had ever had.
Right.
Or wasn't commonplace or market rate.
Right.
Well, I've dealt with this in the NFL. Hell, I dealt with this recently. Like, this is what the market is. Either you're in or you're out.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati has a precedent of doing this. Other teams have probably done this. Mm-hmm. There's been times I can understand where Cincinnati tries to do things that everybody else doesn't do. And one of the things, like, why he didn't practice in their mini camp,
right,
and sign before that, because they would not build the protections in that every other team has in, like, the waiver that you sign for, like, giving him full disability should something happen out there.
Right.
And every other team does, and Cincinnati doesn't. And people are like, well, this guy's terrible for not practicing. And then you find out why. And like, why do they do something that no one else does?
Right.
And I don't blame that guy. Like, what are you trying to get over? Like, oh, we'll take care of him. Well, then why won't you put it in writing like everybody else?
Yes, exactly.
And so that's all he's asking for right here.
In order to be eligible for the NBA draft, you have to be 1 year out of high school. That usually means going to college for a year, playing in the developmental league, or overseas. But 22 years ago, when LeBron was drafted, the rule didn't exist. So James went, of course, straight from high school to the NBA. He always claimed that had he gone to college, it would have been to Ohio State. Now he is getting a degree from OSU, didn't actually sit in class. Instead, James is being given an honorary degree this week. So, Bobby, you will be a fellow Buckeye alum with LeBron, who is getting a Doctor of Public Service degree. Call him Dr. James.
Doctor of Public Service?
Yes, that's what he is.
I mean, couldn't it have just been a BA? We had to give him
It's actually just BS, but go ahead.
A full PhD there on that?
Well, he donated enough money to the locker room, the basketball locker
Tennis
room.
shoes. Yeah.
There's a lot of people that have donated a lot more money to Ohio State, and I don't think they gave them degrees. So, I get it, the honorary doctorate, but I don't even think he has an undergrad degree from anywhere.
No.
Like, at least Shaq, when
I think he's got a high school diploma.
He's got one of those, but you got the cardio. He didn't go to play school at St. Vincent St. Mary. But yeah, Bobby, it always bugs me about this thing where LeBron says he would have gone to Ohio State.
You can say it because there's no reason, there's no one to deny that now.
Look,
you can't refute it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if Rihanna asked me out, I would say no. Okay?
What?
If Rihanna asked me out,
why?
Why would I say no? Because I'm happily married and it'd be a foolish thing to do. Now, how do I know I could say that? Because Rihanna's not going to ask me out. Okay? That's the way I look at this LeBron thing. LeBron can say all he wants because, like, oh, yeah, we believe you. I'm telling you, LeBron would have gone to Duke. He would have gone to play for Coach K if he was going to go play in college somewhere. He can say the Ohio State thing all he wants, and that's great. But he was not going to come to Ohio State. He was going to go to Duke. Bobby, are you okay with these honorary degrees? Because to me, all these guys get them, and it's all just, I know, PR stuff. To me,
as long as you know what it is.
Well, yeah, but to me, it's akin to like the guy who the bill out there about making Ohio State's games that they can't play at noon anymore. I don't know what bill it was, but the legislator wanted to put that out there.
They could pass a law that says that. I mean,
there's no way in hell it's going to happen. It was good publicity.
Tennessee signed something that's akin to like that on the NIL space.
Do you think
like it's a winning issue with fans?
Yeah, you're right. It's a winning issue with voters.
That's my point.
Yeah, it's a winning issue with voters. It doesn't go through.
Doesn't care what your politics are. If you like Ohio State and you're like, I hate noon games, and this guy's going to do this, and the governor's going to sign the law, then okay, there you go.
There was another one a year ago, a couple years ago. I can't remember what it was. It was just nothing, but you knew it was going to be a publicity stunt.
Yeah,
is all it was. But it's not something that's going to actually happen. So that's what this feels like to me. It'll be good publicity for Ohio State. Good for LeBron. You get a doctorate. You call a doctor now. That's fine.
How about Dr. Dre? Where did he get his from, you think?
Now, Dre's is legit. Dre went to the University of Hip Hop, and I don't want you to, I'm not going to sit and let you besmirch Dr. Dre or anything in hip hop, especially on Christopher Wallace's birthday, right? Not day of death, birthday.
You mean his name isn't Notorious?
Notorious.
His parents didn't name him.
I thought his first
Notorious.
name was Biggie and his last name was Smalls.
His middle name was Notorious. Christopher Notorious Wallace, and he got big. I don't know if you saw that or not. If he would have been a skinny guy, then it wouldn't have worked.
My middle name is The.
Mark the Shark?
Yeah. Last name Shark.
I always called you Mark F. Howell.
What was the F for?
I'm not going to say it on the air.
I thought you were racist when you said you wouldn't date Rihanna because she's from Barbados.
That too. That's the other thing too. Barbadians. I don't really want to.
Barbadite.
That is amazing.
6.5 weeks ago, the Florida Gators won the NCAA championship. Kind of hard to even remember that, and probably 5 years from now I won't remember. But now they are going for back-to-backs, and their roster got a push yesterday. Boogie Fland. If my parents named me Boogie, I would divorce them. Boogie Fland, who helped Arkansas get into the tournament in John Calipari's first season there, is transferring to Florida. His NIL deal in Gainesville is reportedly more than $2 million. So, Tito, the Gators' starting backcourt next season will be Fland from Arkansas and Xavion Lee, a former star for Princeton, who also transferred to Florida.
Florida basketball school now? They might be. After how poor they played football the last couple of years.
Listen, at the end of the year, they were playing good football.
They were.
DJ Lagway is one of the better young quarterbacks. And, what's amazing is this exodus from Arkansas. And everybody that wanted Cal to come to Columbus, and they're like, it's only a couple million more dollars. I'm like, dude, they've got an NIL war chest for basketball that I guarantee you he requested from the Waltons, and they gave it to him. And I don't know if they are not paying that now or they're allocating those dollars other places, but that was the main reason why he went there. And that's something that I don't know with what's happening, if that still exists, or they're just going to spend that money on other players.
It's a great get for Florida. They're going to enter the season probably as, I think them and Houston will enter the season as favorites to win the NCAA title. And so, yeah, good get for them. Tough loss for Arkansas, but I'm sure there's another player in the portal that they're going to bring in Arkansas to replace him. By the way, Justin let us know in the chat, and I love the chatters. Thanks for always holding us accountable. The flag planting bill was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Which was never going to pass either.
No.
Right. And so, that was just a publicity thing to jump onto that after all of that happened with the planting of the flag after the Michigan game last year.
Hey, Tito, just so you're not confused, the Waltons that Bobby was talking about, the Walmart guys from Arkansas, not John Boy.
Not John Boy. But John Boy is not related to them then. Is Grandpa?
It was just his TV name.
Okay, just a TV name. Gotcha. Real name? Richard something, Shark.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's it for quick hitters. Thank you so much for that, Sharky. Coming up next, the NFL has parity. The NBA will have a 7th different champion in 7 years. It's been 25 years since a team won back-to-back World Series. Are dynasties in pro sports dying? That is next. Morning Juice.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. I care deeply about creating a world we can all fully participate in, free from stigma, misperceptions, and barriers. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Rooted in communities nationwide, Easter Seals helps empower millions of people, regardless of age or disability, through its life-changing services and powerful advocacy. Today and every day, Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to grow and thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, and achieve great things. How do we do it? In the best way possible, by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities. And most importantly, by empowering youths and their families to get out of poverty and into employment through life skills, computer, and job training. The very tools they need to break the cycle of poverty and build futures full of promise. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full and best potential. Learn more about how Children International is empowering children and families by going to children.org today. That's children.org.
Proud to be your go-to sports addiction.
WBNS, WBNS FM, HD3 Columbus.
The Fan 3, Ohio sports destination. Tito has had 2 wives. They've both been named Heather. If you know someone named Heather, please warn her. This is Morning Juice.
How about please warn me? How about that one? Huh? Why do I always think about the other Heathers? Why do I think about warn Tito? Anyway. Bobby, by the way, I was corrected in the chat about the line that was said by Darth Vader before James Earl Jones voiced it over. It was not I killed your father. It was Obi-Wan killed your father. That was the line that the actor said. If you ever go back and look at the video, like on YouTube, the voice of the Darth Vader thing is hysterical before they voiced over it. Like the original voice, it sounds almost like the C-3PO voice. It's a high, squeaky voice as Darth Vader.
Never saw it.
That's ridiculous. Okay. You're not much of a movie connoisseur then. All right, Bobby, are you a fan of, let me ask you this first. What do you consider makes up a dynasty in sports? Is it just championships, or is it more sustained success?
I think it's a combination of both. I think you need to win titles, but you need to be in the mix every year with like the same group of guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got the NFL for years always wanted to achieve parity. And they've done a decent job of that. There's still some dynasties that come in. The Patriots dynasty, I would call what they had a dynasty. I would call what the Chiefs have right now a dynasty. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, they've won four Super Bowls? 3.
No, they won
3. They lost 1. They've been to 4.
They lost 2, right? They lost to Tampa Bay
2.
and lost to
been
Philly.
To 5,
yep.
won 3. That's right, because they lost this last year.
And they're in the AFC Championship game almost every year. It's almost been every year since Mahomes has been in the league. Maybe one.
I think every year is a starter.
Every year is a starter?
It was that first year he lost
You're
to
right.
Brady. That was when D Ford lined up offsides.
So, yes, I would say that those have been a couple of dynasties there, but they've got it set up in the NFL to where they don't want – I shouldn't say don't want. I get the idea that they would much rather have parity than dynasties. We grew up, Shark and I, dynasties. Well, you grew up with the Browns back in the old NFL days when they were a dynasty in the 40s and 50s. Otto Graham out there, Lou Groza. But like in the 70s, you had the Steelers. You also had the Cowboys. You had the Dolphins. Then we had the Niners in the 80s and things like that. Washington for a while. But this in the NBA, this will be the 7th different champion in the last 7 years. And do you prefer, as a sports fan, do you prefer dynasties in your leagues, or would you rather have like what the NBA is going through right now?
Well, I think you need polarizing characters.
Okay.
And then you also need, you don't need, but it helps, because I listened to this argument yesterday on Get Up. And
reverse copying
they're talking about, is it good for the Knicks to be here?
Right.
Is it good for 6 different champs in 6 years? I said for the belief, that's what the NFL has. Like the NFL has the Chiefs, but they also have the Bills and the Packers.
And the Ravens.
And even the Ravens. Like the Bills and the Packers are 2 of the smallest markets in the country. And you have a belief that your team can still go win it. And for a long time in the NBA, that was never the case. And so if you have the Indianapolis Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder playing in the NBA Finals, there's a belief that, hey, this thing might not be rigged because those markets aren't huge, the ratings aren't going to be great, but you'll develop a huge inherent fan base in those markets,
right?
And they'll continue to grow. Just like when you put Green Bay on national television, everybody was watching. Same thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like they had a dynasty, they were able to grow out of that, but because of it, you have a generation of fans, and they've always been pretty good. They may not be in the sexiest city in America, but they're able to have a lot of success with that. So I think you need to have a belief, and that's what the NFL does better than any other league, that everybody can always win. You don't have that in Major League Baseball.
And you
don't have that in the NBA generally, but it feels like it might be changing some.
Well, like Milwaukee winning it. Milwaukee's not the biggest market in the NBA. They won it with Giannis, when they won it a few years back. And the NBA does such a good job of the players are the story, not the teams. Like every team right now that's left in the NBA Finals has got players that are like marquee players. We're talking Anthony Edwards, SGA out there. You've got even like secondary players like Chet Holmgren and guys like that we've watched develop through first 1 year of college and going there though. But I got to believe the NBA is okay with this. I always liked. I like when there's a dynasty, when there's like this a team that people hate and that is going to be competitive every year and have a chance. I like the fact that Chiefs are doing what they're doing. Even though in the NFL, Bobby, like you said, when you've got this 17-game schedule and you could go 9-8 and make the playoffs, and then it's that whole anything can happen in the playoffs. We've seen wild card teams win the playoffs before with the Giants, and 2 times they did with Eli, so it doesn't necessarily mean you can't compete, but are we going to – NHL, by the way, is a little different. I looked at that, too. Florida's going for their 2nd straight. They won last night 5-2 against Carolina in game 1 of that Eastern Conference Final. Tampa Bay recently won back-to-back as well. So it's a little bit different in hockey, I think. With baseball...
Because in hockey, they say, do that hockey, so it's different.
That's right. With baseball, there hasn't, like I said, been a repeat champion since the Yankees back in 2000, whatever it was. And although it is...
You have the same here's the thing. You may not have a repeat champion, but do you have the same teams at the top, the same teams playing for? Like the Astros have been there for a while. You had the Dodgers that were up there for a while.
Right.
You know, like the same teams that were either in the AL or NL, AL championship, and then maybe they're playing for a World Series. Maybe they win it one year, maybe they don't. But it's the same characters that are coming back.
Right. And it's easier in... like with baseball, though, the problem with, because of the fact there's not a real salary cap, there are penalties if you spend a certain amount of money, yes, and you got to pay a huge tax, and part of that money goes to the bottom 5 revenue teams or whatever it is, or bottom 5 teams in Major League Baseball. But injuries play such a factor. You could have, look what the Dodgers are surviving through it, but they've got a bunch of pitchers that got hurt. And I remember going through in the offseason, you look at the Dodgers, it seemed like they had 10 pitchers who would start for any team in the majors. And then they start losing them because of injuries. So it's a lot flukier. There's more luck involved with baseball. And yes, the Dodgers have been at the top. They outspend everybody. The Mets are going to outspend everybody, so are the Yankees. But a lot of their success is going to be dependent on, or a lot of their end result will depend on the injuries and how healthy they can stay, especially on the pitching staff.
What about the 90s Braves, who only won one World Series, but they won their division 14 straight years?
I would call them a dynasty. Even though they had one championship, I would still call them a dynasty.
That's tough because they won one. How many did they play for?
I think they only played
They
three. They lost to
the Yankees in 96. They lost to the Twins in 91.
Right. 91, that's right.
I think they lost the Yankees twice.
Twice against the Yankees?
And the Twins once.
And then the Tribe as well, right?
They beat the Tribe.
They beat the Tribe in 95.
Good. I'm glad you did that, Bobby.
Wait, what about the
I'm
Tribe?
not the one throwing the
Tribe,
jab.
Indians, 90s, Dynasty?
No, because they went to...
All right.
You know what, though? I think it's closer than you're saying, though, Bobby. I think it's
I'm not saying that it's way out of the realm of possibility.
Right. No championship, so makes it.
I just think you've got to win at least 2 championships. If we're going to go dynasty,
you think 2?
They don't have to be consecutive, but you probably got to win a second. And then if you have a 5-year, to me, it's like being a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
In the NFL, I always said my argument was, were you one of the best? You had to be one of the best players of your generation. How do you view that? Well, were you first or second team All-Pro for the better part of a decade?
Right. Not Pro Bowl. Don't give me that crap.
Not Pro Bowl, first and second team All-Pro. And
right.
That's when Zach Thomas was going in there. It's he was 5-time first team, 2-time second team. So 7 out of 10 years,
right,
which is a really nice NFL career, he was considered either the best or second best at his position. And so for this, hey, if you win 2 championships and you're playing for 2 more and you're on the semifinal or the conference final, whatever you want to call it, for 2 other years. So out of 6 years, you're in the final 4 teams. You win it twice, and 2 other times you're losing it. To me, that's a dynasty because teams have to go through you. You are a reoccurring character when you start talking about successful teams of who has to win.
Is it more difficult to have a dynasty in college football?
Yeah, because of the turnover.
Well, I know, but everyone's turning over, though. Not just you. Your opponents are turning over, too.
I understand that, but the reason why you have dynasties in other sports is once you get really good players, you can keep them. In college football, you can get really good players, and then you got to give them away.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. Everybody's got the same thing, but nobody gets to keep their really good players for more than 4, but usually it's going to be 3 years.
So the Saban run in Alabama,
wildly impressive.
More impressive than what the Chiefs are doing right now.
Yes.
See, I was struggling with that.
Didn't he win 7?
I think he won
maybe
6
at
there,
Alabama,
he won
1
7
at LSU. You win 6 titles in whatever that was. 16 years.
So here's the thing with that, because of how it was set up for a long time. It was tougher to get to the apex, but once you got there, it was really condensed. And for the way he played, it was better to win.
Right.
It's BCS, you're winning a one-off, but you got to get there.
Sure.
Even in a Final Four, it's really tough to get there, but once you do it, 12-team, more like the NFL playoffs, easier to get in.
Right.
But then you got to beat 3 or 4 really good teams.
How many BCSs did he win? Do you know that? Like, because it seems like he got a good chunk in the, obviously, when they expanded playoff.
The first year they did the playoff was 14.
Right.
So he won it in 12 when they beat Notre Dame.
Right. I don't count that one. Notre Dame was so bad.
Well, okay.
Alabama's really
I don't know what you. I don't know.
Overrated. Sorry. Go ahead.
They won it, I believe, in 9 or 10.
They won it in 09.
Yep.
Beat Texas.
Okay.
They won it in 11. Beat LSU 21-0.
Okay.
12.
They won it in 12. Beat Notre Dame 42-14. They won in 15, so that would have been a 4-team.
So he won half
3 in the BCS.
He won half in his BCS and half
yeah.
in the 4-team.
If Ohio State wins another national title this year, is it a dynasty? Would you call it a dynasty?
You know, because, Bobby, you started out by saying same players.
Yeah.
Intact, and this is going to be just a completely different team.
I mean, it would be a dynasty around the coach more than it is around the players.
Yes.
If they were able to win, like Saban created the Alabama dynasty, but Mark Ingram wasn't part of that second, third, fourth title. You know, so like that's what's a lot different in college sports, which to me makes it harder because if you can get great players at key positions,
right?
Like Pat Mahomes has been Pat Mahomes, and he's going to be Pat Mahomes for the next 5 years. So like you could argue with the Patriots, and this is like the LeBron argument, but I mean Brady had essentially 3 different dynasty opportunities. They have 2 of the first when they won 3 of 4 from whatever it was, 01, 03, and 04. Then that team kind of strips down a little bit. Then in 07, they bring in the Moss years. And they've got Moss and those guys, and then they try to make the other push. Well, they don't win any, but they get to 2 more. Then all of a sudden, they flip over, and then you get like the Gronk, who's kind of starts at the end of the first one, Hernandez, those guys, the Edelman, Ninkovich, Devin McCourty, all of those guys for that final run where they go to another and then win 3 more right there. So, like, there's like, but he's like the one theme and constant throughout. But you could argue like the way the teams were comprised and how they were built, I think that's part of it.
It's 2 separate dynasties.
Yeah, it's almost like 3 in the middle if they would have won any of those 2 with those teams because I look at like how they're constructed. When you look at that, like, is it the players and is it a familiar style of how they play and how they look?
Buffalo Bills.
That's somebody brought up in the chat.
AFC
they said they went to 4 straight Super Bowls, which no one's ever done.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they lost them. The Giants game was the only close one. The other ones were never really competitive. But they went to 4 straight. They've won 4 AFC championships, Bobby, in a row.
Yeah, it's tough. Like they're the one that I think you could put in the dynasty-esque category.
Because that pretty much was the same roster.
It was. It was
the same thing. 4 years in a row. Yeah, it was the same players. It was the same cast of characters on that one. You're right. And they just ran into better teams. The Doug Williams game, we threw 5 touchdown passes in the second quarter. Second quarter alone, he threw 5 touchdown passes. The last second field goal.
But even with that, during that run, one of the Super Bowls they went to, Jim Kelly didn't play in the wild. They were a wild card when they got in,
right?
And that's the famous 31-3 comeback.
Music City Bowl,
Whatever.
Music City Miracle.
No, not the Music City Miracle.
Not that one.
Yeah, they were down 31-3, and Frank Reich.
Yeah, but they weren't down 31-3 in that game. This was against legit the Oilers.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That was against the Oilers.
That was against the Oilers.
And was that was one of their Super Bowl years?
Yeah, I think it was 93, I want to say. That Frank Reich came in. I mean, he was the starter, and he lit them up in the terrible first half, great second half. 5 touchdown passes, and they end up winning the game, 38-35 or whatever it was.
Frank Reich, Miami guy, right?
Maryland.
Maryland, okay.
He has the greatest college comeback,
too. Miami guy.
Reich has the greatest college one, too?
Yeah,
Kelly had a pretty good one at Miami.
He was backing up Boomer Esiason at Maryland when they were down 31.
That's pretty impressive. I didn't know about Frank Reich. But I always find it interesting, though, like with the dynasty thing, and because I don't know if leagues want dynasties.
I think they do, but you need to have somebody that challenges them, and you can't have them win all of it.
Right.
Like, the best thing for the NBA is you had Golden State come up. Everyone loved them. They became a dynasty. People hated them. And then you had the Cavs knock them off because you had someone to be able to cheer against them. You had someone to be able to pull the little guy. Like watching the Diamondbacks beat the Yankees.
Yes.
Like that's a great feel. So you love to have the reoccurring character that everybody knows, that people either tune in to love or to hate.
Right.
And then having someone to be a challenger. You love the Rocky story. You know, like that's what people enjoy to see. Watching Clemson and Bama go back and forth, like people did like Clemson for a while, and then they got to it, and you're like, okay, I'm watching the same thing here again. I don't really, if I don't have a rooting interest in this, who do I really feel for? Well, for a while it was Dabo, and they're like, okay, they've won a couple now. He's getting annoying too. I dislike him as much as Saban. So now you're like,
which devil you don't root for?
You don't really have the passion. Like you need to have someone that, as you're going through this, that you're the sympathetic figure that people want to cheer for. The Rudy, the Rocky, the comeback, the Miracle on Ice. Like the Miracle on Ice is great because the Russians were the dynasty, and you have the United States, which is a group of college kids. Like that's tremendous, and that's what you enjoy seeing.
LeBron James and the Heat dynasty.
Yeah, I would say so. They won 2, played for 2 more.
They won 3, right? Didn't they win 3? They only won 2?
Went to 4 straight.
Went to 4, you're right.
They won 4. They went to 4 straight. Yep. And like the Mavs, even before they had won 1.
Yeah.
The Mavs were the sympathetic team. You've got Dirk Nowitzki, who had never won 1. He'd stayed with the same team. So you could juxtapose that. You can have this team of mercenaries versus this guy who has always been here, always done it, like a likable guy. Cuban was kind of a likable owner, I guess, at the time. And, so they ultimately beat the Heat. And then the Heat go to win 2 more.
Right.
And then the Spurs, who Duncan, I guess, is kind of more of a likable figure because he was just, blah. Like you couldn't dislike him. But the Spurs were kind of disliked, I think, probably to a certain extent at some point. But they're from San Antonio, small market.
Dynasty.
But then they come back and they're able to beat the Heat at the end.
Yeah.
After losing to them the first time. It's like you get the revenge factor, like, I don't want to watch him win a third one in a row, no more 3-peats. And so you just have to have the push and the pull. It's all about the characters.
LeBron James, do you call him an Ohio State grad when he gets this degree?
Graduate, I think if it's honorary, there's no graduating. So I don't think that applies.
Okay, I didn't know.
He is a paper holder from Ohio State.
A paper champion, like Rocky was, right, with Mr. T? What do you call it, paper champion?
Yeah, paper dragon, whatever it was.
Yeah, I can't remember that. All right.
These bums.
Coming up next.
Come on over, go to bed with a real man.
If Shark was going to say something, I was going to tell him, shut up, old man. Anyway,
shut up, old man.
Coming up next, Austin Ward joins us. Off season, we don't need no stinking off season. That's next. Morning Juice.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I know firsthand what it's like to battle through joint pain. After years of the hard hits and the wear and tear on the field, I thought pain, it was just going to be something I had to live with. Let me tell you, that's no longer the case thanks to QC Kinetics. For over 8 years, QC Kinetics has been leading the charge nationwide in non-surgical joint pain relief, helping over 50,000 patients get back to doing what they love, pain-free. Whether it's your knees, back, hips, shoulders, you pick it. If joint pain's been slowing you down, you need to hear about what Dr. Aaron Walkoff and his team in Columbus are doing. They're using cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologic treatments with powerful healing properties to repair and restore damaged joint tissue. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Just real results. The kind of treatment I wish I had access to during my playing days, and now you do. Imagine this summer playing around at golf, chasing the kids, and just enjoying a walk without the pain. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-228-4544. They now have offices in Grove City and Canal Winchester.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we.
Brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together.
Established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Tito invited the new Russian family who moved in down the street to watch Rocky IV. It did not go well. This is Morning Juice.
Indeed, it is Morning Juice. And I want to tell you right now about our friend coming on. He is part of the Austin and Berm. The Beat with Austin and Berm is now available on 10TV Plus app. You can download the 10TV Plus app today on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, or Roku. Stay locked in with the latest Buckeye talk wherever you go. If you prefer to listen, just watch Austin and Berm wherever you get your podcasts.
The Just Beat It, A to B.
The B with Austin and Berm, now streaming on your schedule. And he's one of the best. Austin Ward. If not, no, I'm sorry, he's the best. How about that? He's the best. Austin Ward joining us now on Morning Juice. And I've got to play an open. Shark just pointed out to me again. I was so caught up in talking myself.
A guy who considers himself the mayor of Laramie, Wyoming, who holds the shuffleboard record at the Ranger, and most impressive, the commissioner of the Central Ohio Two-Man Scramble League. Here's Austin Ward.
Austin, would you play golf today?
Well, there
I left
he
him
is.
speechless. That's a great question. Austin, you there?
Gosh, we had such a good run going, too.
Do you do an Austin imitation, Bobby?
No, I can't. I don't know a Wyoming accent.
Does Wyoming have an accent?
Laramie?
I don't know if they have an accent or not.
Jeremy from Laramie?
I don't know if they have an accent in Wyoming or not. I don't know. I think he's the only guy I've ever met from Wyoming.
Everybody has an accent.
We'll see. Sharks efforting on that.
I've got him on phone. I've got him brought up on phone.
Austin, you there, brother? All right, we'll figure it out. Bobby, by the way, I don't know if you
one day that we don't have anybody in here supporting now.
Bobby, I don't know if you saw this or not, but Ohio State did add a fourth scholarship quarterback.
I did. And
he's got a great name, too.
Yes, he does.
And so he comes in from, I think, Houston Christian? Is that what it is?
HCU.
And
I think they're the Wolves.
Oh, wow.
Some sort
Even
of
better
dog.
if you got that one.
Some sort of dog, I think.
He should be playing basketball probably with this name. Eli Brickhandler is his name. Brickhandler, grad transfer. And so we knew they wanted to get a fourth quarterback in. He's 6'2", 195. He was from Pittsburgh, California, the other Pittsburgh, the G in there with not the H on the end. That's where he went, though. But we knew all along that they wanted to get a fourth quarterback in there. They need that for depth and for reps and things like that. But I like what they've done lately with getting that last quarterback in there. Who they get from like Oregon State before this? They had a kid who came in who had aspirations to be a coach someday. And that's a great way to learn. That's a great internship.
It is.
To do something like that.
Under the legendary Ryan Day. And so that's nice. You come in here, you get to learn this offense, be a part of these guys. Like, he's someone who's played a lot of football.
Right.
Now, they're going to have a battle, obviously, between Lincoln and Julian, and we're going to see how that all turns out with it. But if for some reason I think that those two guys would always be the primary options, he would probably be a better in-game option than Tavion Austin, just
experience-wise.
Not Tavion Austin.
No,
Tavion St. Clair.
St. Clair, yes.
Where he is at this point in his career. That's not a knock on Tavion. It's just he's never played college football.
Right.
You need somebody to come in on a third down against, Penn State. Unless you've seen enough from Tavion in practice at that point. Like, hey, this guy's played a lot of football. He can at least get in there and nurse this thing forward to be able to keep things going and hopefully keep their train on the track.
Yeah, Bobby, with this, that's a great way to bring that up too. I think if they need somebody to come in, it'll be him. If Keen Holes is saying, or both, or either somehow not available, or if something else happens. But if I think that St. Clair though would certainly get the call first in a blowout game to get reps, right?
Oh yeah, you're going to play him for the future.
You're going to play him when they play Grambling and OU.
Even if you had a situation where, like, hey, somehow you got to St. Clair and he's the next guy up, and it's the 5th game of the season,
right?
You might ride with him the rest of the year. He's like, we're going to get him these reps. But if you had to make an in-game situation for something that was probably temporary or just to get to the end of the game, you're probably going with the bricklayer. What's his last name?
Brick Handler.
Brick Handler.
Eli Brick Handler.
You're going with the Brick Handler.
Right.
Just to be able to try to keep this thing going and keep it on the track.
Bobby, I typically have a couple of different topics in kind of the holster that we can use in case something like this would happen. I know this one you're going to enjoy talking about. Bracketology.
Yeah.
Joe Lunardi put out his most recent bracketology for the upcoming men's basketball season. He's got Ohio State in the field right now. A lot can happen still. They're waiting to see about Darian Williams. They will get him or not. Where do you think Ohio State, what seed are they? 1 through 16. What seed are they in like Lunardi's latest bracketology?
Oh, I would say, Can I get a 7 seed from you?
Okay. If I told you this, what number would I tell you and you'd be shocked? That's realistic, but you'd be shocked.
I mean, anything is possible, but I would say anything over like probably a 2 or a 3.
They are a 4 in Lunardi's latest thing.
Okay, I mean that's
huge.
Like I said, that's on the fringe. Like,
right?
3 is shock. 4 is like, because 4, if you're a 4 seed, you probably finished 3rd or 4th in the Big Ten,
right?
Maybe 5th, but
and
probably
have a decent showing in the tournament too. The Big Ten conference tournament, yes.
Showing the tournament, you looked good in your non-conference, but if you're a 4 seed, it means you're one of the top 16. So you're probably 3rd or 4th in the Big Ten, maybe 5th, depending how good your non-conference was.
Right, and they've got a decent non-conference slate this year, I believe. It makes me very excited. But it seems like Ohio State every year, they're usually ranked a fringe top 25 team in the preseason. I hope they get it right this time with as far as the transfers coming in and whatnot. So, but yeah, 4 seed in that one, those where they have them right now. That'd be a fantastic, I think, a fantastic season for Ohio State if they got that high. They still need to win a game, though, in this particular exercise. They'd be playing Charleston and then the winner of USC and Yale after that, according to what Lunardi does. And he does a great job on this every year when he puts that out there. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on what Ohio State does with Darian Williams. Will be a big one. If they get Darian Williams, I'd be much more, I don't want to say confident, but
bullish.
Yes, I'd be much more realistic if that would happen. So we'll keep an eye on that with Lunardi. I don't know if he does. I think every month or so, every few weeks, he will do a new bracketology. Getting back to Ohio State football, Bobby, when you look at this team, what position group has to be most reliable outside of like the quarterback position? What position group do they need to have be most reliable?
The quickest, I would say the defensive line. I mean, you lost 4 senior starters, all of them drafted, all of them really good.
Right.
All of them made big plays at different times last year, and if you look at Ohio State's run, the defensive line through those last 4 games was really stinking good. And so those guys are all essentially new.
Right.
Now, you've got some reoccurring characters, like Caden Curry played a little bit, Kenyatta Jackson played a little bit, like Caden McDonald played some.
Right.
So you got some guys that have played some, and you brought some new guys in as well.
Sure.
But those guys have to step up. And I think any great defense has a great defensive line. And so however that looks, however that they're able to manipulate that to be able to get the most out of it, that's a big. But that defensive line, to me, is going to have to be the focal point of what that defense is going to be all about. It doesn't mean that, like, Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles aren't going to be good, and, you're not going to need some of your defensive backs to be good and that the secondary to be really, really good. But you're going to have to make sure that front is solid, because that was the strength of that team last year. And I don't know if they need to be as good as they were last year, but they need to be pretty darn close.
It's interesting, Bobby, because I've done a 180 on how I feel about the offensive line from about, I guess probably.
Yeah, because those guys played a lot better, and then a lot of them are coming back.
Right, they got a lot of experience.
You lost 2 seniors. One that was a first round draft pick with some. I'm getting some reverb.
I've got Austin on video,
but I'm hearing you and me and everything that's coming through. Don't worry, we got our top men on it. There you go. That's gonna be pleasant for the listener.
I think it's gone now, so that's good. Okay,
he put it down, but now it's back.
All right. I'll tell you what. Why don't we take a break?
Yeah.
And we will come back, see if we can get Austin, take a quick break.
Austin's got to take his liberty to school, so.
He does, so it might be a very quick conversation. We get him back. This is Morning Juice.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I know firsthand what it's like to battle through joint pain. After years of the hard hits and the wear and tear on the field, I thought pain, it was just going to be something I had to live with. Let me tell you, that's no longer the case thanks to QC Kinetics. For over 8 years, QC Kinetics has been leading the charge nationwide in non-surgical joint pain relief, helping over 50,000 patients get back to doing what they love, pain-free. Whether it's your knees, back, hips, shoulders, you pick it. If joint pain's been slowing you down, you need to hear about what Dr. Aaron Walkoff and his team in Columbus are doing. They're using cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologic treatments with powerful healing properties to repair and restore damaged joint tissue. No surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Just real results. The kind of treatment I wish I had access to during my playing days, and now you do. Imagine this summer playing around a golf, chasing the kids, and just enjoying a walk without the pain. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus or call 380-2845-44. They now have offices in Grove City and Canal Winchester.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Bobby is known as the General. Tito shops at Dollar General. This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. We're going to try this again. I think we've got it up and running now. But let's play a little Austin Ward Open here.
A guy who considers himself the mayor of Laramie, Wyoming, who holds the shuffleboard record at the Ranger, and most impressive, the commissioner of the Central Ohio Two-Man Scramble League. Here's Austin Ward.
Austin, I gave you such a great introduction the first time, and I'm not going to repeat it now. But you were probably dripping with Riz after I did that.
Oh.
Yeah, it was quite the introduction. I'm not going to do it now because now it's old. But would you golf today?
Would I golf today?
Yes.
I'd love to golf today.
In this weather, I'm saying, would you golf today?
You know, when it was a downpour yesterday afternoon on the way down to do the Buckeye show, I wouldn't have played in that. But when Beamer and I walked outside around 8:30, and it's like, man, this is perfect. You could play right now. I like cooler temperatures. Shorts and a quarter zip, Tito. You know me. That's perfect weather.
Oh, it's tremendous. What else is perfect, Austin? The Buckeyes getting a fourth quarterback in the room from Houston Christian. Basically coming in insurance policy should something happen. Obviously to one of the two guys with Lincoln and Julian battling that out.
Yeah, and you know, Ryan Day's made this clear since day one when he took over at Ohio State. He needs 4 scholarship quarterbacks. It's not a want situation. And it isn't about necessarily Saturdays in the fall, Bob. It is, you know, you want to have that room. You want to have, it's not even necessarily about competition because Eli Brickhandler here is not coming in to push for the number 1 job or the number 2 job. He's to, you know, have somebody who can run the scout team, have somebody who you have another idea, you have another set of eyes in the room, you have someone who has been in multiple college programs, has been in weight room experience at the college level for multiple years, not necessarily the same as working in the Woody or with Mickey Marotti, but understands how to break down film, understands how to practice, and that's a person who, aside from being an insurance policy where if you get to that number 4 quarterback, unlikely that you would need that, but he has experience playing at the college level. But you want someone to be around to help bring along Tavian St. Clair. And, you know, this is a spot where Ryan Day and Ohio State have often needed almost until August to fill it. I think Chris Chuganoff showed up midway through training camp when they were able to find it, because it's a difficult ask and a difficult fit to find someone who understands that they're not coming in to play football necessarily on Saturdays, but they're getting an education and they're helping give an education to the other guys in the room. And I think the way that this worked out with Eli Brickhandler, you know, I could talk about it for a long time because I think it's really cool. These guys, Gunnar Hoke, Tristan Gebbia, Chris Chuganoff, who I mentioned, Bob, like they're really taking a different opportunity and embracing what that would mean, maybe beyond playing football, but potentially coaching football. And I'm excited to get to know Eli Brickhandler because I don't want to speak for him on what actually prompted that decision, but I've really liked getting to know some of these other like sharp backup quarterback guys who are coming in, not for necessarily athletic upside, but for the mental value and mental strength of the room.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it before, but it is a great, if to get that 4th quarterback in there, you've got to convince him of what, you got to make sure you're on the same page what his role is going to be. But if you're somebody who has no aspirations realistically of playing at the next level, it's a great way to learn about coaching. It's a great way to get in that mode of that, learning under those guys.
Yeah, that's one thing that Tristan Gebbia, I'm drawing from maybe his experience most directly and most recently. You know, he said when he was coming over, it's like, well, you're in a room with Ryan Day, you know, whoever your direct quarterback coach is going to be at that time, Corey Dennis, you know, you've had Chip Kelly doing that. Now you have Billy Fessler, guys who know a ton of football. You're going to be surrounded by, you know, elite weapons to throw to, even on the scout team. So that would be a fun experience for that. So there's lots of upside, but it's unique upside. As you said there, Tito, it's not that they want to be done playing football, but very few quarterbacks, especially, but anybody, as Bob can attest, can make it to the NFL level. That's a tall order. So you also have to have maybe that moment of realization before some other guys do in their college career. So I always appreciate these guys a lot because it would be insulting to say, well, I also like the walk-on stories. And it's like I like these guys who are doing it for reasons necessarily that aren't about massive NIL paydays, not trying to think about second NFL contracts. And hey, I like watching those guys too because they're freak athletes and high achievers, and they're what generally drive this engine to national championship conversation. But you know, you don't build a roster, you don't build a culture out of solely having those 5 stars. And so sometimes I find those are the stories that I enjoy most.
Yeah, it's a great story, man. I love it, Austin. I love that you love those stories. And I love that those stories love you back, and it's a nice little relationship that you enjoy.
I hope they do. It's got to be reciprocal.
So we, Ralph and I were talking about, and he asked me what position group I need to have the most confidence in, or do I need to see the biggest jump? And to me, I said it was the defensive line. I know we've kind of harbored on this much of the offseason. It appears at this point, that they're probably done right there. Moving forward, what's your confidence level on this defensive line being able to be, I don't want to say as good as last year because you had 4 seniors who all got drafted and made some huge plays, but on being a national championship caliber defensive line?
Yeah, I think if you look, Bob, at the starting group here, there's not necessarily much reason to have concern about that, in my opinion. Now, it is still a little bit of a bet on potential. That's the way that I've been looking at this coming out of spring. Even if we're talking about Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson specifically on the edge, they're seniors, but they don't come into this year with anywhere near the body of work that JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer had as seniors a year ago. Now, they've learned from them. They've learned from Larry Johnson. They've learned from Mickey Marani for 3 years, each of them. So we've seen them contribute off the bench, but that's a different thing. When you're talking about the leap forward, they still have to make that. They're going from second wave guys to being primary edge rushers, and this will be the same situation for CJ Hicks, where he's transitioning from linebacker to edge. Can he make that leap? I like what he can provide for sure. Logan George is making a leap from the FCS level all the way to Ohio State. And then you have, they went and got a 5th guy on the defensive end in Bo Atkinson. He's leaping from Jordan Hudson's program at North Carolina into a different program and having to adjust on the fly there. So I like all that. Again, you have to if you fully tap into that potential, then I think the pass rushing production can match what Ohio State got a year ago. Where you have to really see the leap is on the interior guys. I think Caden McDonald and Edric Houston is also a fantastic place for Ohio State to start building from. But the true leaps for that group to reach its full potential have to be from the next sort of 3 or 4 there. Is Will Smith Jr., Jason Moore, are they ready to really contribute? You have guys in there who you like them, you handpicked them, you recruited them for a reason. Are they ready to contribute in a way? Tywan Malone, this is now year 3 since he's come into Ohio State. If all 3 of those guys hit home runs in the offseason and in training camp, well, you're talking about a very different picture than what we see maybe coming out of spring. But that work's not done. And if you're going to win a national championship, defend a national championship, Bob, both lines have to be great. And I think that there's probably a bit more head start for the offense than there is defense.
Austin, I escaped my silo last night and was listening to you and my former co-host, Brandon Beam, and you were talking about... Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, doing a great job, by the way, breaking it down from 6 to 8 on the Buckeye show, which you can hear Beam there now, and Austin on most nights as well. So you guys were talking about the defensive coordinator situation and Matt Patricia and like the difference with him and Jim Knowles. And I know Matt's been out on the recruiting trail for much of the last month, and just how different that is from maybe the role that Jim Knowles had, despite those guys both being DC, but maybe their impact and effect on the recruiting.
Yeah, very different, because if we think back to late January, early February, when you're looking at that role and what it needed to be, part of the quote unquote sales pitch for Ohio State, if you're looking for a defensive coordinator, is, hey, you don't have to recruit here. We were able to manage before with getting to campus, and then you could sit down in a room with Jim Knowles and he might explain the scheme and show his personality to you that way and talk about the way he envisions using you. But that was about the extent of it. He did not have a tremendous interest in going on the road, did not seem to have a great appetite for wanting to evaluate those players. And look, there's a ton of people at Ohio State that can help do that for the defensive coordinator and allow them to put their attention elsewhere. But I think what has been maybe the surprise, and I've talked to Berm about this, who's seen Matt Patricia popping up at some of these high school showcase days and had an opportunity to communicate with him about what he's looking for, how he's looking for it, and the way he wants to do it. It's very different, I think, than what Jim Knowles did. And I don't mean that as an indictment in any way, shape, or form. Jim Knowles had an approach that worked, and Ohio State won the national championship and had the number 1 ranked defense in the country. That was a fine way to do it. I think it then becomes a bonus what Matt Patricia is giving you. If that's something that interests him, that's what he wants to do. He wants to attack the job. He seems to have, if there was a notion, and part of my surprise, if you think back to when we talked about the hiring in February, Bob, was this guy hasn't been in college in 20 plus years. He's a longtime NFL coach. He's an NFL head coach. Does he want to deal with NIL? Does he want to deal with the transfer portal? And does he have interest in recruiting? Now, that may not have been a key component to actually doing the job necessarily based on the guy before, but Matt Patricia has dove in with both feet on every part of that. And again, from the personality stuff, you were banging the drum right away. Meet this guy. And I wanted to have an open mind. It doesn't change the fact that I may have been surprised about the hire initially.
Pleasantly.
But everything since then has been off the charts good. And that, whether he has a good relationship with the media or not doesn't matter, but he has had one. And the players and the rest of the people in the Woody, from, low-level staffers all the way up to everybody else in that meeting room for the defensive staff, like, everybody has been incredibly impressed. And I think that he has fit into that culture in a way that clearly Ryan Day expected, or he wouldn't have hired him. But the recruiting piece, as you mentioned, has been definitely a bonus, and I think it speaks highly to the way he's attacking the entire job.
Austin Ward here. He's one half of The Beat with Austin and Berm, now available on the 10 TV Plus app. You can download the app today on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, or Roku. Stay locked in with the latest Buckeye talk wherever you go. Austin, we'll get you out of here on this one. You're on video today, and as far as I'm concerned, you look fetching. Has anybody called you fetching before?
That's the first time. I'm just glad that I can peek into the studio, because there was somebody else lurking in there when I left last night. I don't know what happened to him. Where's Dom?
Great question. We're going to bring the cardboard thing of Dom in here. It freaks everybody out in the station. We have it out there. But yeah, we're going to bring that in and use that probably next show. Austin, we appreciate the time, brother.
I thought he should hang out with you guys because somebody put him in our studio. Then they put him in the hallway. And I thought, well, this could really if Shark walks in here at 3 a.m. and sees this Dom just hanging out, boy, that could be something else. That's
one of the big things we know this show needs through some of the analytics we've done. More old white guys to do this show. That's exactly what we need here. Thanks so much, man. Love hearing you on the Buckeye Show a few times a week there with Beamer, and then also best of luck with your podcast. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
That was Austin Ward joining us there. Always love talking to him. And now we should probably tell you what else other than Austin Ward has us excited.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Bobby, it's a Wednesday. Why don't you tell us what has Bobby Carpenter juiced?
Well, it's a 3-pack of what's got us juiced. Yesterday was my son Kellen's 12th birthday, so it was awesome having him turn 12. Enjoyed that. Got him some steaks. My parents came up. They ate with us, had a good time, got some birthday cake, sang him happy birthday. It was really exciting for him. Measured him. He is about the exact height I was at the age of 12.
Really?
Yeah, my dad, when he got done, he recorded all our heights off our boards and gave him our board and gave them to my brothers and I. So I always tracked the kids against that. So I told him, I was like, bud, I was tall and then I was kind of average for a while because I kind of like hit my growth spurt later. And so I was like, you'll be fine. Like, don't worry about all this right now.
Is he going to be your tallest?
Him or Caleb are both about the same height as I was growing up. So we'll see. And that's what he's like. I want to be taller than 6'3". I said, well, go to bed then. Get some sleep. You only grow when you sleep, which is a Rob Carpenter message, which is factually true, but I don't know how much it'll help. But we'll see. I know this, getting less sleep isn't gonna help you. More sleep probably won't hurt you. I got to be my son's mystery reader yesterday. Caleb, it was a big
how'd
day.
That go?
It went good. I was able to read the 2nd grade book. So that means that I could have probably passed reading proficiency in 2nd grade. But I did read it upside down.
No, you did.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you ever read, when you read to kids, you're like reading at an angle.
Oh, and like you're showing it to them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting in front of them and I'm reading.
I didn't know if it's just a.
I'm going to do it right, and believe me, my delivery was phenomenal. Like I was straight up Mr.
You gave
Rogers
yourself.
out there.
You gave
I
yourself
gave
an
myself
A plus.
Yeah, Mr.
10 out of 10.
Mr. Rogers level, Sesame Street quality.
Did you change shoes and change into a sweater when you got there?
Yeah, I put my house shoes on and I put my cardigan on.
All right, good.
Went from one sweater to another sweater as I walked in the home. Went from my outdoor to my indoor sweater. But it was great to do that. We read a Second 7 book, The Hog Mollies, and what is it? The Great Camp Out. Great little lesson in there about patience, practice, and persistence. Kind of permeating through that. So that was a lot of fun. And then, as I said, my parents came up for everything, just getting a chance to be around my mom and dad. And I stumbled into this the other day about the importance of parents and what they can provide and how, to provide boundaries and guidelines, and moms and dads give a little bit of different things. And so I thought this was fairly appropriate. And I thank my parents, even though I didn't thank them in the moment for how they were able to raise me and what they were able to do, because hopefully it has made me somewhat of a better person.
Fathers seem to be particularly attuned to developing the capacities for children to figure life out. Moms tend to correct more often. Dads tend not to correct as often. But when dad does, the line holds. They're more willing to confront a child. There's a sense of consequence, which shows up right when we see that fatherlessness is linked to incarceration rates. Without a dad, there can be problematic behaviors that develop, a lack of sense of what healthy masculinity looks like. So it's acting out, not having a model. What does it mean to be protective of women and children and show that form of masculinity? There can be compensatory masculinity. I'm going to show that I'm a man by being aggressive, by being over people, instead of seeing what it looks like to have beautiful, healthy masculinity, which is protective of children, protective of those who are weaker. Fathers matter.
There we go. And that had me juiced as I got to listen to that yesterday. So thanks for cutting that up for me, Shark. What's Schleg's got to say?
It's different now than it was when I played or when anybody played in the past. It's just different. Times are different. Kids are different. The relationship aspect, the trust aspect will always be there. That's the love of me giving everything I have to you as a coach, high GSF, to maximize your potential.
Amen, brother. It is Black Wednesday here in the studio. Nate, who is training this week, wore black. I wore black. Bobby wore black. Austin had a black hoodie on. Tito's wearing gray. He didn't get the memo.
Apparently I did not.
That does not have me juiced. Something else that doesn't have me juiced, I don't know if you guys saw this story. There have been dozens of college athletes over the last 5 years who have been given a 6th year, a 7th year, an 8th year of eligibility, 9th year, due to COVID and injuries. I don't know how many times you need to redshirt before you graduate from college. But anyway, COVID was 5 years ago, and I was hoping that this was going to go away. It's not. There are some college athletes who don't want to leave college. Zakai Ziegler. He's played at the University of Tennessee.
Yeah.
4 years. You can play 4 years in 5 years. 4 seasons in 5 years, let's say. And he played his 4 seasons. Eligibility up. Eligibility exhausted. Graduated this month. But now he wants to play more college.
Good for him.
Basketball.
Yeah.
So by NCAA rules, he's done. But he's now suing the NCAA to get another year of eligibility. The lawsuit argues that the rule allowing an athlete to play only 4 seasons is an unlawful restraint of trade under both federal and Tennessee laws. Ziegler graduated this month. He wants to keep playing because he thinks he can earn up to $4 million in NIL this season. Wow. So,
yeah.
If this thing passes, if he wins this lawsuit.
Oh, well, I'm going back. I got some.
We all have eligibility.
What's amazing with that is you rewind 23 years and you had Maurice Claret suing to get out to get to the NFL early. Now you have guys suing to stay back in.
Exactly. 4 years isn't enough. I want to play for 8. And then I watched Leaving Las Vegas this week.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my gosh. I had forgotten how depressing
Is that Nicolas
movie.
Cage?
Yeah, Nick Cage and Elizabeth Shue.
It's...
you
might want to get yourself a couple glasses of wine right now.
Why? It's like right up there with Manchester by the Sea in terms of depression.
What?
It just
another good one. East of Eden.
East of Eden. Yeah, I guess.
East. It's
Eastbound and Down?
Eastern Promises, the one that Beam was telling me about.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, gosh. It's the one that Beam hyped up, and I put on at like 10:45 on a Saturday night. I text him in that group chat like 12:30, go, you just ruined my evening.
Yeah.
I go, there wasn't enough wine for me to drink to make myself feel better about that.
Tito, did you ever see Leaving Las Vegas?
No.
I'm going to have to rewatch it.
It's about a guy who loses his job in Hollywood and moves to Las Vegas to basically drink himself to death. And he does. And
Boys trip in September, by the way, just so you know.
It's a success story is what you're telling
Oh,
me.
my gosh. It's so bad. And he won an Oscar. Best actor
That's
Oscar.
Nick Cage's like only award, I think.
Elizabeth Shue should have won.
Yeah.
She was
I don't know how he didn't win
fantastic.
for Honeymoon in Vegas. That was a great movie.
How about
with Nick
Raising
Cage.
Arizona?
Raising Arizona with Holly Hunter. Moonstruck with Cher.
Why do you guys watch?
I think Nick Cage has been in more movies than he might go down as like the Carmelo Anthony of movies.
Yes.
He's going to get a couple because he's just going to volume shoot the hell out of them.
You're a history whiz, Bob. You had to love National Treasure.
Oh, I do love National
Those are
Treasure.
great movies.
My kids have watched. I wanted them. I heard there was a rumor they were going to make a third, and I'm like, that would be tremendous.
Yeah.
I took my son when we went to see the Army Navy. We went to Philadelphia, for the game, and we're at the Liberty Bell. He's like, "There's Independence Hall," when they're using the little glasses to like be able to see different stuff. I'm like, that's where they were at, looking across there.
Why do you guys watch depressing movies?
I don't know. And I had seen Leaving Las Vegas in the theater. I don't know why I watched it. It was on Turner Classic Movies, Turner Movies Classic.
I prefer Poetic Justice. That's why I like The Count of Monte Cristo.
Well, I thought you meant the movie Poetic Justice.
No.
Tupac, Janet Jackson.
I haven't seen
but
that.
The Count of Monte Cristo had a plot.
Yes.
Leaving Las Vegas didn't. I'm just going to drink myself to death.
Well, that is the plot.
Yeah.
That's the story.
And it's too close to home, by the way, as a guy who lost his job in Ohio and then went to Las Vegas for a different. Anyway, no, I don't. But life is short. I like to laugh. I like to enjoy myself. I like to smile. Why? I don't understand why people like watching depressing movies.
Well, some of them are historically accurate.
Historically accurate.
And I watch like historically based movies. I'm like,
absolutely,
gosh,
that I get.
Is it that bad? Was it really that bad? Maybe it was.
Yes, I think that those cases that they are, and I think I'm okay with those kind of depictions. I'm not going to go out of my way though to watch a movie that is going to make me depressed. I don't know. It's just I want to be entertained. That's all I want to be. Clown. That's what I want to be. I want to be entertained.
Clown.
That's what I want to do. I guess that's got me juiced. Now we're out of time. I guess that'll stick with what's got me juiced. Is
save it for tomorrow.
Oh, I'll be juicer tomorrow. Thanks so much to all the people chiming in on the chat. We appreciate that. Thank you to Austin Ward, Bobby, Shark, Nate, Tito here. We're back tomorrow. Morning Juice.
Within 15 seconds of logging onto social media, the algorithm has your daughter in its crosshairs. It sends her a steady flow of images telling her she isn't thin enough, pretty enough. They invade her brain, causing body dysmorphia, anxiety, depression, leading to the worst rates of eating disorders, self-harm, and suicide we have ever known. All while she's sitting right next to you on her phone. Congress knows, but it refuses to act. Don't let her suffer the secret pain alone. Use your voice. Demand a plan. Join us at the Center for Countering Digital Hate. ProtectingKidsOnline.org. Because it's up to you to protect your children from social media nightmares. Join us. For her. For your daughter.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fan favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff.
like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids, and I've got a good job.
Bye, Mom. See you, Mom.
A pretty important job. Because of my family and my job, I really care about this neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. Yes, there's some crime. And when I drive to work, like now, I realize that some people here don't trust the police. So the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you as a police officer that this department is reaching out to the community, and the community is doing its part. We're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere. This is how we can all be safer. Get involved. Start the conversation.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/prevent violent crime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau